Today on The Social, Blue Jays fans are striking out of attending the World Series with ticket prices in the thousands. Should a cap be placed on the resale market? And one man regrets not exploring his sexuality before getting married. Is it too late or too important to ignore? Then a salad dedicated to Giorgio Armani, beef tenderloin Sophia Loren. Now that's amore. A taste of the mouthwatering dishes to be served at the Winter Olympic Games in Italy. Plus, from his early start in Toronto at SCTV to his most memorable roles, we learn more about John Candy's life in comedy with author and journalist Paul Myers. It all starts now on The Social.
Happy Wednesday and welcome to The Social. We'd like to welcome back to the show actor and comedian Tom Hearn. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to start the show with what's top of mind for a lot of us today. Trying to get your hands on some World Series tickets. A lot of Toronto Blue Jays fans have already struck out with face value tickets selling out in 30 minutes. Resale starting now, if you want to try, $1,500 a ticket for the nosebleeds. So the question is, should there be a cap on ticket sales, specifically resale? Yes.
Wow, resounding yes from the audience. Well, here's the thing. So the tickets before the resale started at $390 to $790, which is still less than I paid for Beyonce, which we love.
Yes.
We love. She deserves every cent.
Every penny.
Every penny.
Just in case she's watching.
But I do think there absolutely should be a cap on resale. I don't think that you should be able to sell a ticket for a higher face value than you paid for it. Why are we letting people...
Or maybe a limit?
Or I don't know. Because I still think we're letting people then now profit off of these things. We're just essentially letting people set up their own little small business of ticket resales. I think we should stick to Blue Jays tradition. If you buy a ticket and you want to get rid of it, you have to stand outside of the Rogers Center and say, I have a ticket! I have a ticket, please take it from me.
Remember in those days?
Yes, that's Blue Jays tradition.
Cash
It is kind of a supply and demand situation, though. Like, because when we were growing up, this didn't happen. This wasn't a thing.
Nope.
So people have seen that there are people who will pay lots of money. Like, if we all collectively, I mean, it's not going to be me. This is why I stay at home, right? Like, so I'm not going to be there. But for people who are interested in tickets for concerts or tickets for these types of things, they're willing to pay for it. So is the answer like the government mandating it? Like, is that the answer? Do we want federal mandates on how much you can profit from that?
Okay, listen, here's the thing. It makes it sound very, dare I say, 1993, if you can catch the reference.
My birth year.
It sounds very 1993. Oh, stop.
Oh my gosh.
If we think for 1 second that it is human on human crime that is happening here or human on human profiting, you don't know what 2025 is actually about. The reason why I think there absolutely has to be what exists in the European Union, which is it is highly restricted and in some places illegal to do ticket resale, is because they have caught on to something that clearly here we either haven't caught on to or we don't care to catch on to. This is market manipulation by bots. This is not scalpers going, I'm going to sit on my computer at 10 a.m. and buy tickets. There are literally thousands of bots that are deployed. There was analysis on this, and they say that one bot can do a transaction in 1 second. So if you have a bot doing 40,000 tickets, the bots are the ones that bought the tickets.
But then who's
not
making, wait a minute. Who's where's the money
So
going
then
then?
it goes, no, it's not. There's always someone to profit.
Yeah, yeah.
There are
Somebody owns the
companies.
bot.
Somebody owns the bot. Somebody
the
owns that
bots.
company.
So my problem here is not, oh, I'm going to pay a scalper. I would happily pay a human. It's not human on human crime. We need to rein in the bots. We are not buying against another human. We are buying against machines.
You'll
It's
never
not
see a
fair.
bot or-
And you're right.
It's not
fiction.
fair.
But I think I'm going to go to Cynthia. I'm going to agree with you. I think the horses left the barn, and the problem is us, because whether it's a bot or a person standing outside the stadium, when they have that ticket price and someone goes, you know what, I'll pay it. Is it Taylor Swift? My daughter really wants to go. It's $4,000. Here's the money. We are the problem, whether it's a bot or a human. And I feel like, you know, a lot of people are like, well, what about the families who really want to go and see this game? And I do feel for those families, because I'm sure there are lots of parents who would love to take their kids to see the World Series. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for them. But let's be real, even in the regular season, most sporting event tickets are too expensive. Like, take, for example, the Raptors, right? The Raptors, we got some Raptor fans in the front row. They have a game tonight, right? So even for not the floor seats, but the next section up is the 100 section. Get this, the tickets are between $300 and $600 each. So if you're a family of four, you're looking at $1,200 to $2,400 for tickets. You haven't parked, you haven't eaten, and you definitely haven't gotten yourself any merch. Then the Leafs have a game. Don't get me started about the Leafs.
No, can't start. No,
Nosebleed
no.
Seats, nosebleeds for this Saturday between $150 and $300. Again, whether it's bots or humans, the problem is we have
it's
paid.
the problem, yes.
And
no,
now
no, yes.
open the
But
door.
that is the role
There's
of the
no rolling it
government.
back.
When you ask who should, the government bodies are always stepping in. Remember when the toilet paper prices were going through the roof during COVID? It's the government's job to protect us as consumers. $24,000 for a Blue Jays ticket should be illegal. And guess
100%.
what? You can buy one right now. The government should protect
And it's
us.
interesting
here's the
because there
question.
used to be, in the province of Ontario at least, and maybe in a couple of other provinces, there was a cap that was given, and that was gotten rid of by...
So there was a bill
right?
that was floated in the province of Ontario in the House of Commons saying we should cap resale at 150%. Unfortunately, the Ford government voted that down.
So there you go.
And you know what, speaking of, you know what it is? It's because it's capitalism. And that's
Yes.
what we are all
Dirty
victims
word.
of. All right, so let's move on. If I say 6'7", 6'7".
No, 6'7".
Oh God, I can't even say it. Does that mean anything to anybody? 6'7". This is
not the audience for
All
that.
right,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a viral slang that's being haunting Gen Alpha classrooms everywhere. Kids will shout it out when a teacher says turns to the page 67, or when lunch is 6 to 7 minutes away, and sometimes for no reason at all. They're just like 6'7". So does it bother you to be out of the loop with this type of slang? And how important is it, oh, you guys don't care, for you to understand these types of things? Is it important for you guys to understand them? My kind of people.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Listen, well, I have an 11-year-old, and guess what's taken over our house?
6'7".
And you know what? You know what makes Marqueza cringe more than anything is when I try to talk like her and her friends.
Yeah.
So when she watches back this show today, she's gonna be like, oh my God, that was so embarrassing, Mom. Don't talk like us. Of course, I'm not trying to talk like you. I am trying to parent in 2025. And my friends, it is a full contact sport.
That's right.
If you are not understanding, I'm not wanting to be cool. I need to know what the kids are into because it's my job as a parent to know what they're up to.
Yeah.
So is it a good reference? Is it not?
Wait. But you make a good
Absolutely.
distinction though. You make a good
Absolutely.
distinction. There's one thing to know what's going on with your kids, another thing for you trying to be cool.
But they
like your kids.
they can't even define what it is though. When you ask somebody, you say, clearly tell me what is 6'7", and they'll say, I don't know.
It's to bug.
I don't know.
It's something just designed to irritate adults. That's all it is.
But I mean, here's the thing. It's not a new concept, because like I think for like me, a millennial, we had it too. Like I remember I used to say, oh, that's so random, that's so random. And my
Yes.
dad would be like, what's random? What is random
And
about
you couldn't
that? And I
define
couldn't
it.
define it. It's the same thing. But I have a challenge for all the Gen Alphas out there.
Okay.
Okay, because here's the thing. We had a 6'7" in my millennial day as well. You just put a star in front of it. So I challenge the kids to grab a phone, star 67, and start prank calling. But oh yeah, you won't do it because you're scared to talk on the phone.
The millennial version is stars. 6, 7. Oh my God.
They have no clue. They're
No
like, what are you
clue.
talking about?
See, we could do it back, okay?
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Random.
Random. Oh my God. All the kids today, we're going to hear it today. Let's
6,
take a
7 is
break.
over.
It is. We just killed it.
We just killed it.
On the other side of the break, there is one man who says he regrets not exploring his sexuality before he got married. So is that too late, or is it just too important to ignore? We're going to debate after this.
Tomorrow on The Social, grape expectations. From cozy reds to crisp whites. Perfect pours for fall with sommelier Natalie McLean. This week on The Social, why do dogs spin around when excited? And do our cats really love us? Science writer Jay Ingram stops by to give us the answers and chat about his new book.
Okay, we were just saying that this Friday is not only the World Series opener here in Toronto, it's also the season opener for the Toronto Raptors in the city. So listen, wherever you are, if you're going to be in town, come see us live in studio, right?
And you know
That's a
what?
trifecta.
Tickets are very expensive, but you know whose tickets are not expensive? Ours, because they're what? $3.99, baby.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll be outside the front just saying, I got tickets, I got tickets.
Okay, a reader wrote to the Washington Post's advice columnist saying he figured out he was bisexual 6 months after marrying his wife. And now he regrets not having had the chance to be with a man. So he wants to know if he should ask his wife for a temporary hall pass. So I can imagine how that conversation might go over, but what do you think is the best way to handle this?
Well, okay.
All right, Tom.
Well, okay, so here's the thing.
Okay.
The first thing, one of the things that he said in this article is that he's looking for a year or so break from their marriage. A year! A year! I'm gonna tell you, it's not gonna take a year to find out if you like it or not. But listen, it's 2025, and I absolutely think, first of all, men should be exploring their sexuality more so we don't get into situations like being engaged for 6 months, realizing you're bisexual, being married for 2 years, and then asking for a hall pass for a year. Listen, do I think that there's a more nuanced conversation about what marriage looks like in 2025? Absolutely. But I do, as much as I want this man to be able to explore and become his full self, I don't really think that it should come at the disservice of a wife and a woman that he says that he loves and has been with for 2 years.
Yeah, no, such a great point.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny? I've always been an advocate, even when it wasn't popular, for people taking their time and waiting before they make big decisions like getting married and having children. And it's really hard in a society that looks at you, especially as a woman goes, TikTok, how come you're not married with children? You're getting a little old. And it's like, I remember my girlfriends getting married in their 20s, and I just kind of felt like, marriage is such a serious thing. How are you ready? I felt like, oh my gosh, I don't even know who I am yet. Never mind like aligning myself with somebody and building a life. I'm not ready yet. So now I'm in this stage in my life where I have a lot of those friends, unfortunately, are getting divorced. And so when I see stories like this, I'm like, yeah, maybe if you didn't feel that pressure to do this thing that everybody's doing at this certain time, maybe you'd give yourself a chance to figure out who you are and explore that before you settle down with somebody who perhaps wanted just a very, heterosexual, we're gonna have 2 children and the picket fence.
And I think
And I wish people would just lay off of people and just give them the time to figure it out so that they can make the right decision for themselves.
Yeah, I think
Right?
I think the problem always will harken back to like our internal homophobia though. So like I think specifically with men, I think it's very clear, like you get married, you have your kids, you do this, X, Y, Z, these are the steps that we're all told in society that we take. And I think it's just a little bit more difficult sometimes for straight men to be perceived and to allowed to be open and to explore those things without a layer of judgment onto that.
I agree. And I think that's a really important point because even though we've made strides, and I think it is easier, let's say, for younger generations to explore before they get into serious relationships, I think for some generations that was not even possible. And many people entered into serious relationships without even being allowed to consider that there might be another side of them. I find it interesting that the Kinsey report, people know what I mean when I say that, it came out in the late 40s, early 50s, and it said at that time that literally the majority of people are not strictly gay or strictly straight. In fact, the majority of people fall somewhere in the middle. So I think we should start with that as a baseline of understanding about human, like our human sexuality. And I think the thing is that often we say in long-term relationships when there's an affair, in the aftermath of an affair, you hear people saying, well, if they'd only come to me and told me what they were feeling beforehand, then we could have talked about it. And the thing is, unless we allow for them, I'm not talking about this guy, it sounds like, but in general, unless we allow for those conversations to happen, those uncomfortable conversations, then you're gonna see people living secret lives. So we have to find a happy medium in here in order to move forward.
Yeah, it's true. I also think, like, listen, we all know relationships are hard, and I think the one thing we have to accept about the human condition is it's really, really messy. We can go into life thinking it should go like this and like this and like this, but we're human because we mess up. And I don't know if this is a mess up or not. I just think that if you hide the truth from the one that you love, you both end up living a lie. So I don't know that you can stay and just think that, well, I'm gonna ride this one out. It's gonna come up for you have to face it at some point. And guess what? I think sometimes love is messy. And I think, to me, if he wants his truth, he should go and find it. And sometimes people get hurt. And I hate to say this because if I was her, I'd be like, I'm gonna kill you. But on the other hand, I think it does take courage to be truthful, even though I think he should have done it before. But shoulda, woulda, coulda. We're humans.
Yeah,
We're
absolutely.
humans, you know?
All right. Juicy conversation. Let's get into another one. How old is too old to go trick-or-treating? Someone wrote to Slate saying that they were never allowed to go out for Halloween as a kid, and they want to know if 22 years old is over the limit. So at what age would you refuse to give someone candy at your door?
71.
I mean, for me, I think the cutoff, not that I would be able to know this right out of the gate, but is 25. Don't they say that your brain doesn't fully formulate until you're 25? So under that, as long as you're wearing a costume.
Oh, Cynthia.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna give
Cynthia.
you, come on, keep it like this.
Cynthia, we're gonna use his underdeveloped brain. No.
Yes. You know
Well,
what,
maybe
you can
he's
also,
bisexual. We don't
you know
know.
what?
Be bisexual. Just don't be asking for candy at my door. Listen, if you're 22 years old and you're wondering if you're too old, ask yourself this question. Do you have a driver's license? Can you drive to the store? And when you're at the store, can you afford to buy your own candy? Then you're probably too old to be trick-or-treating. This is ridiculous. I don't know why at 22 you don't want to go to a Halloween party with people your own age.
Does it
You
matter?
show up at my door at 22, I'm calling the cops.
This person, okay,
There's
guys.
a man at my door
I
with a
understand what
mask
you're saying.
on.
The costume would matter. Like if he's dressed like Michael Myers, it's a whole other story. But I will say, like this person apparently never got the chance to trick or treat when they were growing up.
Listen, I didn't get to go to sleepovers.
Yeah.
But you have to work that stuff out with your therapist, not at my door.
Listen, I dare anybody over the age of 12 to show up at my house on Halloween.
Yeah.
I dare, because they will be met by a 6'3" man and a big Doberman.
Oh.
My husband has a hard rule about this. The only way I think he would ever change the rule, because last year there was a bunch of teenagers, they must have been 18, 19, and my husband sat there and interrogated them about their costumes, which were hoodies and garbage bags.
Okay, well, that's not a costume.
And so he
That's not a
literally
costume.
was berating them, and he did not give them any candy. I said, babe, you're gonna make our house a Target next year.
I hate to take this
Stop
down
it.
a notch.
That's
Also,
why you
and
need to call the police. There's a man shows
Listen,
up.
I'm not gonna go trick-or-treating this year unless I'm going to Mel's house because I want to see her husband.
You're welcome over anytime, Tommy. And by the way, it's great to have you back here.
Always.
Not the dog, no? Not the dog, no.
Well, I like the dog, too.
And the dog, too. After the break, everybody, we're going to be looking back at the connections that we have made with you, our viewers, and our incredible guests over all the years here on The Social. We'll be right back. Well, those were just a couple of Belle's new campaign spots highlighting the importance of connection in our lives. It's essential, of course, to the human experience. So we are wired to be social beings, and I firmly believe that we needed to thrive mentally and physically.
Yeah, and as Belle's campaign says, connection is everything, and that's certainly true for us here at The Social. Every day, we get the privilege of connecting with you, our viewers, insightful guests, and each other. So I'm curious, how have you been affected by the connections that you've made through the show, Cynthia?
Oh my gosh, there's so many ways in which I've been affected. I think what comes to mind is that a couple of years ago, I was going through a really hard time, and I was really questioning, you know, sort of my role in this show in particular, and if my voice really mattered anymore. And so I was talking about this with my therapist, and she said, I wonder if you can try to picture one viewer that you can connect with in this feeling of disconnection. Yeah. And she's like, you know, make up an imaginary person. I was like, I don't have to make up an imaginary person. I know a person. Yeah. So this has been a viewer for a long time who'd reached out on social media and had always said to me, I really love what you say. I identify. I really resonate a lot of times with your opinions. And so that stayed in my mind, and I've actually since then, I'm going to get emotional, shared this with her, that she is the person that I often think of when I'm talking about things, that I'm trying to connect with her. So it has meant the world to me to connect with her.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
For me, I think before I started the show, I was like, you know, I worked in television for a long time, so I was so concerned about, like, what am I going to say? What am I going to do? As a black woman, do I have to, you know, do all of these things? And then something happened that I did not see coming, which is this wonderful connection with the audience when I'm out in regular life, not here in the studio, that have brought me to tears on several occasions where people have shared stories of like, you guys are the best friends in my head, or I was going through chemo and you guys got me through that, or I lost my job and I was so distressed and so depressed, but I watched you guys every single day. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So while I was just in my own head thinking about myself and how am I going to perform, I forgot that there's this wonderful connection that we're making with people every single day. So that's been the best part of this entire journey.
Yeah.
Best part.
True. It's true. Yeah. I think for me, I agree. It's just so beautiful hearing all these stories because that's been our story here on The Social. There's also connections that we make working on the show. And if you go back to episode 1, day 1, season 1 of The Social, there was a stylist by the name of Erica Wark who had joined us that very first episode. Guys, this was 13 years ago! Look at baby Mel and baby Lainey and baby Erica. But who knew that all these years later, Erica is one of my closest friends in my life. And we met that first day ever on the show. And we've just been through so many things. We went from not being parents to being parents and all of these amazing life milestones. And also, when you talk about viewers, we have a crew. I don't know what to call them. I call them maybe the VIP socialites. And they are viewers that were with us since day 1 of the show. They were with us when Twitter was a thing. Yeah. And, you know, and they've been our super fans, both online, and then it's crossed over. They come to the studio all the time. They have become friends. So shout out to people like Denise and Deb and Franco and Liz and Walter and Robin.
Yeah.
Like there's so many. I'm gonna forget some, but you know who you are.
Yeah, very, very
special.
Who you are. And I've definitely learned the importance of listening by being on the show. And that too much talking and not enough listening can lead to miscommunication issues. So what have you learned or changed your mind through connections that were formed on this show? Mel, I'll start with you.
Oh, the biggest one was going from not being a parent to being a parent. I had a lot of opinions about parenting.
All the answers, right?
Before I had one, and then I was like, whoa, what the heck was I saying? I should have kept my mouth shut. I think that's one of the biggest ones as well. Another connection is, again, great guests on the show that become friends. Dr. Sheila Wijayasinghe is a family physician, menopause expert. She's here all the time. She's been with us also for so many years, and I didn't know that she would become a portal for me personally, that I became an accidental women's health advocate, especially in the world of menopause. I've started a podcast. I do a lot of work in this space. Dr. Sheila is always the first person I call when I have a question. She's been my North Star on my journey. And so a big shout out to you, Dr. Sheila. She's doing amazing things.
Love her.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, Cyn, is there a guest that has really changed your mind about something?
I mean, you know who comes to mind is, and I think this was true for all of us, Marie Hennon, who is a criminal defense lawyer, or was a criminal defense lawyer at the time, and she sort of became very well known because she was part of this Jian Ghomeshi case. She was defending him. And before meeting her, I had kind of some thoughts in my mind about what somebody would be like who was defending somebody with these kinds of accusations. But in the end, meeting her, it was just she's so lovely, and she was so candid and vulnerable. And I think I realized it was the system that I was really angry with, not with this person who was just doing their job. So it was a real eye-opening moment for me about questioning your initial thoughts. But on a lighter note, another moment that comes to mind is when I met Miss Piggy, because I thought Miss Piggy, when she was on the show, I thought the whole time I'm going to be so aware that she's a puppet, right? She's a puppet. The puppeteer was right underneath, but I totally got lost. In my mind, she was completely alive. I was so enchanted. I was like starstruck.
You're kissing her.
Never, ever forget them. I kissed the puppet. Yep, totally real. She's real, guys. Real.
Totally, yes.
Oh, of course.
Didn't know you'd go there, Cyn, but we love it. It has been great connecting this way with all of you, and I hope that you enjoyed that as well. Remember, we always want to hear from you as well, so reach out to us on social media at The Social CTV. Also share what's on your mind. We know life is not always easy these days, but it is always better, I think, when we take time to connect and look out for one another. You know what I mean? Let's do that more. Let's do that more. All right, we're going to take a very quick break, and then up next, Chef Carlo Zadi gives us a taste of what food fans can expect at the Winter Olympics in Milan. Yes! 100 days away. Let's talk food at the Olympics after this.
Welcome back. We're now just over 100 days from the start of the Winter Olympics. I know, 100 days. This time they are actually headed to Italy, and that means world-class sports, stunning alpine views, and of course, incredible food.
Oh, bellissima. So here to give us a delicious preview of what fans can expect in Milano and Cortina is the culinary director of On Location, which is the official hospitality provider for the 2026 Games. Please welcome to The Social, Chef Carlo Zadi.
Yes. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. So, Carlo, you are the culinary director. So, what is that? Tell us what that entails.
So, I'm in charge to study the menu for the hospitality. I'm in charge to organize the logistic because, you know, we have 13 different competition venue. In every venue we have hospitality. So you see the competition and then you come back, you eat. So I have to study the menu, the food provider. We are talking about 130,000 meals.
Wow.
And so it's also difficult to find the best quality. So we have to start in advance, adjust the menu. So that's
a
what I'm
job.
doing. Yeah.
So, I mean, this is not your first rodeo. You have extensive experience in overseeing the culinary operations. You did it in Salt Lake City in 2002, Athens in 2004, Torino in 2006, and Vancouver
2010.
So, how do you approach each one of the games differently?
Yes, because when I was in Vancouver, for instance, I was working for the Italian delegation. So I was in charge to try to find the food for the Italian delegation. Now I'm in charge to find the food and make an experience for the foreigners coming to Italy. So I have to go and find the very best food, the very best ingredient to make a true experience and make the people wish to come back to Italy and go back and...
Yes. Oh, well, as we said off the top, the 2026 Games, they are happening in Milano and in Cortina.
Yes.
So tell us about the culinary inspiration for these historic places.
We are lucky. These games are spread in 9 different counties, and every county has its own tradition, ingredient, food. Everybody is very proud of their cooking. So we have to respect the territory, but at the same time, we want to represent all over Italy. So the challenge is, okay, make it local, but make the experience for the guests. So you are coming and having also a mix of other cooking, other kitchens, you know?
That's fantastic. All right, so Chef Carlo, you brought us some dishes off that Olympic menu. The first one we're starting with is a celery salad that was inspired by designer Giorgio Armani, who just recently passed away. Talk to us about the story behind this.
Yeah, no, it's a nice story because Giorgio Armani charged me to organize a menu, and we have been discussing with him for hours. How do we display the food? What's the menu? Something like this. Then when we agreed everything, he came to me and said, Carlo, please don't remember. For me, I want something easy and very light. Okay. So I told him, okay, can I organize this salad for you? He said, very well. So that's why he authorized me.
So it's like celery, it's cheese, it's nuts,
and a little bit egg on top of it. So it has to be
good.
Yeah,
so good.
It has to be easy, tasty.
And he liked it?
And yes, he liked it. That's why I can call it Giorgio Armani salad.
Okay, so next up, we have a dish that you prepared for Sophia Loren.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell us about this beef tenderloin and why you selected this for your menu.
Yeah, so I didn't know the story that would have come out from this beef, but I wanted to create something just for her. So I did the tenderloin, is typical from my region, and I also have Barolo in our region, so I tried to make a sauce with Barolo, juniper berry, balsamic vinegar. She was so happy, and she authorized me to call this plate after her. So now on our menu, we have the beef tenderloin, and on location, authorized me to put this in the menu. So we have the tenderloin Sophia Loren at the Olympic Games.
Wow, I love that. We just got a taste.
It's so good. I can imagine putting together a menu that has to cater to large groups of people from all over the world could be quite difficult. So talk about the logistical and the creative challenges that are involved.
Yes, of course, you can imagine also in terms of logistic. Cortina is 4.5 hours by car from Milano. The Valtellina, it's on the other side. It's also, again, 4 hours. So logistically, it's very difficult. But we want to represent all Italy. So that's why we try to make ingredients, first of all, organic, DOP certified, so from small farmers, and that makes something that evaluates the Italian kitchen in this big event.
Wow. Well, unbelievably, we have come to our final dish, and you have made a potato gnocchi with bolognese sauce. So what was the inspiration for this?
This is because we want to represent Italy. You know, Bologna is in more south than Milano, so we said we want to represent it, but because we also want to surprise our client, I've taken some truffles for you.
Oh my God!
You speak our language. Oh my gosh.
That is gorgeous.
My
Truffles. Let's
and
go.
Chef, isn't it truffle season right now?
Yes, that's the
It
truffle
is truffle
season right now.
I love how you had that hidden away in your pocket.
Where you're pulling out of that pocket. Okay, so what is the key to a good bolognese?
Good bolognese, we need, first of all, to make a good food, we need good ingredient and fresh prepared. So you take some beef ragu, fresh tomatoes. You do ragu bolognese with fresh tomatoes. While you laugh. Thank
I'm
you.
enjoying this food so much. I'm listening.
Fresh tomatoes, and then, of course, homemade fresh gnocchi, tomatoes, eggs, potatoes, eggs, and flour. You mix it, you cook fresh sauce. You like it.
This is the
and some
greatest day.
grana padano on top of it.
It's just amazing, like just incredible food.
Oh my gosh, Chef, thank you for spoiling us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Everyone's in very good hands with you.
Wait for you in Italy, eh?
Okay, we'll be there.
Come
we'll
for
be
the
there.
games. Thank you.
Thank you so much. For more information on hospitality packages at the Winter Olympics in Milano, all you have to do is head to hospitality.milanocortina2026.org. I know what I'm doing on commercial break. Okay, let's take a break. Then journalist and self-proclaimed candyologist Paul Myers joins us with the stories of the late, great John Candy. We'll be back right after this. That was amazing.
Welcome welcome back. From his rise to fame on SCTV or in films like Uncle Buck and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, John Candy lit up any screen that he was on.
And now fans are getting a heartwarming portrait of one of comedy's most beloved stars in a new memoir all about the Canadian icon's illustrious career. Please welcome to The Social, author of John Candy, A Life in Comedy, Paul Myers. Welcome, Paul.
Good to have you here, Paul. Now, Paul, I saw on your social media that you and Ryan Reynolds, who both have projects about John Candy, gave yourselves a cute little nickname. You guys are calling yourselves the Candyologists.
Well, yes.
Can we get the story behind that one?
Well, it's like we're the only two people doing this work, and Colin Hanks, of course. And so it's a funny story. We had the book going, and we knew there might be a movie, and the Candy family told me about that, but we were working super independently. And then the day the book came out, Ryan Reynolds, a friend of mine who knows me, said, Ryan wants to call you. So Ryan calls me and he said, could you please come to Boston? We'll fly you in and we'll do an event together. And so when I met him, I said, my fellow Candyologist.
Oh.
You know, it was like we're the two experts in the field who've been archaeologists almost dusting off everything.
Love
you know?
that.
Well, I mean, it has to be two great Canadians doing this
Well,
work.
and you know, I gotta say, I had not talked to him the whole time I did this thing. And then when I met him, he's super nice, and he's like, he gave all the money from the show that he was doing to St. Jude's Children's Hospital, and he does Sick Kids Hospital here.
Yes.
And he's just really down to earth and made sure that I was taken care of. I had to go to Edmonton after. He made sure I got to Edmonton. And so I think we're like two rockets that launched separately, and now we're flying in formation.
We love,
Love
this.
that.
Hey, can we go back in time? Yes. I want to go back in time because SCTV, we mentioned it off the top.
Yeah.
Boy, that was a comedy scene here in Toronto in the 70s. It feels like lightning struck the city at that time because you had Catherine O'Hara, Eugene Levy, Andrea Martin, Rick Moranis, and of course, the great John Candy among the original SCTV cast. But what made John stand out?
Well, they were all great, and they all had learned to play comedy together. I say play comedy because they were learning how to play like a team. And then John Candy had this way of being empathetic and vulnerable within very broad characters, sometimes nasty characters that had a humanity to them. And there's this thing that only an emotionally intelligent person can do. And he was a good actor, and a great actor, frankly. And he did comedy from an actor's point of view, and you felt like you knew him immediately. So he became a breakout star. And then we started rooting for him, me and my two brothers, Peter and Mike. We were watching in the suburbs of Toronto, and when he started going into movies, we're like, that's the guy from SCTV. And we rooted for him, and then the world started rooting for him. But the thing is, as you can imagine here in Toronto right this week, we like to root for the home team.
Yeah.
Well, John's co-star and good friend Dan Aykroyd, he actually wrote the foreword for your book.
Yeah.
And in it, he first mentions a house at 1063 Avenue Road in Toronto. He said it was a place where John lived, and a lot of the cast spent time shaping their improv skills. So there's a lot of lore around this address and this home. So if walls could talk, what would that house say?
Well, yeah, and you got to remember the 1973-ish cast of Godspell with like Martin Short and all those people. They also hung out at this house, and they were all young actors who wanted to be social and that hang out and sort of make each other laugh and sing songs together. But they were also kind of training each other for teamwork. And they all ended up working together in other projects. Like to this day, Catherine and Eugene did a show together, Schitt's Creek. And, and Martin Short's still working with other people from that world. And so that's why the walls could talk. They would tell you there's a lot of laughs and probably a few tears. They probably grew up together.
And your book has a lot of great stories, including one that details a story about John Candy meeting Steven Spielberg. Can you tell us about that one?
Yeah, so SCTV, Second City Television, the second or third season, they decided we're going to rent a house in Hollywood and write the series in California because, frankly, it was winter. So why wouldn't you? Canadian, right? And so they invited a bunch of people, and this is how they knew the show was reaching a broader, at least within their industry. All these people showed up at the party. They had like 100 people invited, and there was like 500 people there. One of them was Steven Spielberg. And Steven Spielberg comes right over to John and says, I want you to be in my next movie. And John Candy, humble Canadian guy, says, sure, buddy.
Yeah.
And they'd all had a few drinks, and so he thought, okay, he's just talking. And then he said, hey, I like that movie you made about the fish, kind of razzing him.
Yeah.
And Spielberg laughed, but then the next day he got a message from his assistant. John got a message that said, Steven was serious. He wants to cast you in 1941, a movie he was making at the time.
Wow.
And so he did that movie, but he just did not believe it.
Wow.
Yeah, so humble.
It's
right?
so humble. Speaking of Canadian and great Canadians, there's a story about your brother, the Mike Myers.
I know him.
You know him. So he actually, you write in the book that he talks to you about meeting John after a performance at the University of Toronto, and at the time Mike was a young kid.
Yeah.
And what advice did John give your brother?
So you got to picture this. Mike's always kind of been funny, but he didn't know how to get into comedy. So he goes to the stage door to meet John Candy, and he goes, "Excuse me, Mr. Candy, sir." You know, and it might have been like that. And he says, "How do I get into comedy?" Now, any other celebrity could have any kind of, he could either ignore the question, be rude to him, but John Candy said, you know, there's a Second City workshop downtown in Toronto at the Second City Theatre. Learn how to do comedy there. If you're good at it, you'll keep doing it. If you have a lot of talent, you'll get better at it. And then if you love it, you get to do it. If you don't like it, you don't even have to try. Go do something else. He said, just be cool, be yourself. You might not make it right away, but if you love doing it and you're good at it, it'll be a great job for the rest of your life. And this is super advice to give to and I got to tell you, the button hook to that story is, years later, Mike goes to Second City Stage, he gets in the cast, goes to Saturday Night Live, then he makes Wayne's World, a huge, huge hit film. Yeah. He's in a bar in Toronto, it's a restaurant actually, and Mike's buddy Dave says, "There's John Candy, you should go tell him that you took his advice." And Mike says, again with the humble, he goes, "I don't think he'll even know who I am." John Candy walks across the floor and with his hand extended, he goes, "Hey Mike, saw your movie Wayne's World. Like congratulations, buddy." Like that, you couldn't write that in a movie. Like
That's huge.
Yeah.
That is huge. And you know, John was well known for being funny, but he also showed his range in movies like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So I'm just curious, if he was still alive today, what kind of career do you think he would have had?
Well, he had, like I said, he was a great actor. So he was aiming to do more dramatic roles like the JFK and some of the things like that speech, the I Like Me speech in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles was very serious. And I think he was developing roles for himself that were more serious. So I think he would have done more dramatic work and maybe directed more. He did one film as a director that, you know, he learned how to do it, but he never got to the next level with that because he was cut short so young in his life. But I think he would have been a force. He might have won an Oscar like Robin Williams in Good Will Hunting. He might have done a serious movie like that.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Huge star.
Yeah.
Huge star. Wow. Well, Paul, that was just a little taste of the stories that are in this book.
Yep.
Thank you so much for writing this and for joining us to talk about it today.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It is called John Candy, A Life in Comedy. It is out right now. Please get your copy today. Why don't we take a break? We'll be back right after this.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, that was so good.
Extra! The Social now streaming on Crave. Thanks a lot. This is awesome. You guys are out here. Streaming on Crave. Sorry. Oh, that's amazing.
The Social, now also streaming on Crave.
Tomorrow on The Social, we get expert advice on how to make kind of complex health decisions. So whether that's choosing long-term care or maybe the best treatment plan. So if you're going through any of this, please tune in. Also, it is cozy season, and sommelier Natalie McLean is going to bring us seasonal wines that go well with things like cashmere sweaters and other autumn delights. I think probably you two are
we're drinking it up tomorrow.
You're drinking it.
Yes, we are. Tune in for that.
All right, if you missed any part of the show, you can find us on Crave. You can find us on YouTube. Also, we've got our podcast on the iHeartRadio app. And the conversation ends here now, but it never ends online, so we'd love to engage with you there. Thank you all for joining us today. We love having you here. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.